sorry. But your boy's here. Timers are set. This was the first major point of concern that I wanted to see. So whether the timers were set. We've got MiX versus Calavontis in Exceed. Jungy's Japes. Winners finals. Not Yomi today. We're watching some Exceed. It looks like we are already choosing characters. We're gonna see Zolt from the MiX side, and Arakune from the Calavontis side. I'm just gonna let these guys know that they're good to go. We've got the timers here, so I believe the timer rules are both players have 15 minutes. When you run out of time, you're not out, but when you run out of time and this 30-minute timer over here. Can you actually see my mouse pointer? I actually don't know if the mouse pointer is visible or not. It should be, but when the 30-minute round timer runs out and your 15-minute timer has run out, that's when you lose. So we're in winners finals, so I don't think timer will be an issue. Both these players have been playing for years, months, years. Flipping the coin. Heads. Let's see who goes first. Looks like Arakune will be taking first. Zolt going second. I actually don't know how the timer rules. I'm assuming the timer will start after Mulligan. Both players Mulligan 4. And we are off. Welcome to anyone joining us in stream. Thank you for watching. Should be a good match. Should be an interesting match. First turn parry. Parry's the cross-up. Cross-up is such a good... Cross-up is basically the transformation that makes the Zolt engine work, right? Because you get the card draw necessary to... I cannot peek at the other side of the Zolt, but cross-up is the thing that makes the Zolt engine work. Because Zolt's Exceed side, Hunter Men, is very expensive. And cross-up lets you... Or the transformation on cross-up, I forget what it's called. Battle Fugue, don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Battle Fugue allows you to kind of have those resources to continue doing Zolt Solitaire. So anyways, we see the Forbidden Knowledge boost coming up from Calavontis. This is basically look at the top 5 cards and put one everywhere. So one goes on top of deck, one goes in hand because you draw at the end of the turn, one goes in OD, one goes in Gauge, and one goes in Sealed. Just a really nice consistent boost really good to have early as Arakune. Zolt opting for move 1 and +2 speed. Calavontis immediately teching. Mixed with the prep. Let's see. Just some early game footsies before the game actually gets started. One thing I forgot to notice is that Zolt did EX transform the Blaze of Fervor. So there you go. That's -2 on the... That's -2 transformation, or -2 gauge cost when you exceed. So MiX spending a little time looking at that discard. Unfortunately, I will not be able to search the discards for you. But luckily, reading comes out. Reading grass, successful, and to the spike. Good damage. Knocks out that speed boost as well, which is really great. Calavontis is prepping, MiX is prepping. The second parry, unsuccessful. Let's see what we got here. We've got we got a bunch of normals, 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, Fatal Gunblaze. Ashy the Great, hello. Let's go Calavontis. Let's hope for a good match here. Definitely expecting one with this being winners finals and these two MiX only having lost 1 match this tournament, and I believe Calavontis lost 0. So definitely two of our strongest competitors in the Exceed seed today. I'm assuming this is going to be parry focus, unsuccessful. Bunch of specials. Look at this hand. EX permutation, Y2 dash, disjoint union, F of G. If P then Q. Oh, EX disjoint even. Very, very interesting hands. Let's see. Arakune actually already down half his deck this early on. But still not having done damage yet. And only down half the deck and only 1 gauge and 1 overdrive so far. But game's still early. Both these characters really thrive late, right? Because missed the spot there. But these characters really thrive late. Arcune with the Exceed, and Zolt also with his own Exceed. Interesting, the range 4 power boost. Not a ton of cards that hit at range 4 for Zolt. Only, actually no, he's got a bunch. He's got Whipcrack and Blaze, alongside the normal, and Gunblaze even alongside the normals. So Calavontis is thinking, maybe thinking of striking. I think he flipped this card over. Maybe I'm mistaken. Nope, opposite boost instead. Boost, interesting. -1 speed, attacks at range X do not hit you, where X is the number of cards in your overdrive. That's an interesting one. It's a little bit of an option select as well, because Arcune can put cards into his overdrive with combat cards. So it's not necessarily always range 1, but this kind of turns off dive for the moment. Turns off Gunblaze as well, actually, because Gunblaze would close 3. MiX opting in response to boost Battle Instincts. That's an interesting one. Threatening. What is he threatening here? With Battle Instincts. I'm not 100% sure. I apologize. I'm not the most seasoned Exceed player, nor... I've only been playing the game for only 3 months myself, and I'm not the best player, nor do I really touch either Zolt or Arcune. So if I say something that's a little bit suspect or wrong, feel free to just correct me. Oh yeah, good call. Yeah, the -2 as a tinge of twinge. Nice name, by the way. As a tinge of twinge, and Twitch chat points out. This could be this could be threatening the Exceed. Oh, interesting. Goes for the Gunblaze. Y2 dash. So Y2 dash would close and then make this whiff, right? Because of this boost. Because that's going to overdrive. So now attacks at range 2 do not hit. Oh no, it would hit, right? Because on hit he closes. Oh no, it doesn't hit because on hit he closes 3. It's not a before effect. So yeah, good call on the threatening to Exceed with this boost. It's something I completely neglected. But yeah, and good call on the Arcune side to strike into that, because definitely Zolt exceeding at 30 HP, even though he doesn't have the cross-up transformation, Zolt exceeding at 30 HP is no good. Because when you one of the annoying things about Zolt, even when he exceeds, is even if he doesn't have all of his transformations out, he can basically confirm his transformations, right? And then transform them afterwards. Like if he gets that cross-up transformation or the Whipcrack transformation, that would be a pretty bad situation for Arcune, especially with only 4 combined gauge and overdrive, and 30 HP on the Zolt side. Interesting. Zolt opts for the EX cross, beating out the cross. A little bit interesting because it means that when the Exceed mode comes around, the crosses will be out. But he does still have a bunch of movement options left with the Exceed mode. Like I think he has both dives left, or at least one. Unfortunately, I can't check the discards, like as I said earlier. Just see. Okay, prep. Just rebuilding some resources. Prep again from the Zolt side. So Zolt loves cards. Ken actually has the ability to Exceed right now. Not sure if he's going to go for it or maybe wait to draw the EX Whipcrack, which I believe is still, both copies still left in deck. So maybe he's still looking for that before he goes for the Exceed, just so he can keep a bit of resources in his gauge. Arcune boosting the second Forbidden Knowledge, so we'll be up to, I believe, we'll be up to 8, although I don't know if this Destroy Unit just dropped into the gauge. So Arcune will be up to that 8. Looking at the speeds, we have a bunch of 5s. We have 3 5s here. We have a 3, we have a 6, and then we have whatever this one is. Yep, so that will be the full 8. Let's look at speeds here for matching purposes. Destroying units at 5, if P and Q is a 5, although that doesn't hit. Y2 dash is a 4. permutation, which is the really sick card. That's a 3. F piece wise is a 2. So it's definitely yep. Oh, interesting. Opts to not wait for the EX whip crack. Maybe after seeing that Aracune has 8 total gauge and overdrive, and just opts to spend the 3 to exceed right away. Both players inspecting each other's discards right now, although on Blue's timer. That's a little bit of the timer metagame going on. It's when do you want to check cards? Do you want to check them on your timer or the opponent's timer? Right now, timer doesn't look like it's going to play a huge deal. MiX still has 11. Sorry, that might have been very disorienting for everyone. MiX still has 11 minutes left, and Calavontis has just under 10. So timer looks like it won't be playing into things yet, but it's still early. MiX opting for the +2 power. Wonder if Calavontis just decides to pull the trigger right now on the exceed. Looks like he's going for it. Yep. He's... Well, is he? He's looking... Yeah, he is. He's just doing some housekeeping here. Maybe sorting the speeds or something. Not really doing a good job of it. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So looking at the speeds here, we got a good mix. We got a 2. We got lots of 5s here. A couple 3s, which are super good with the 2 known permutations in hand. What is going on here? Why is this flipped over? Oh, it's probably a reshuffle. No, it's not a reshuffle. Yeah, it was a flipped over deck. I don't know what's going on there, but you know what? We'll just maybe he was doing like with the opponent's permission, was just searching through the deck to see what cards are left. Oh, okay. Thank you, Gabasso. I did not realize that. Yeah, Aracune was really deep through the deck, huh? So only 11 cards left in deck. That's slightly scary, although Aracune does have that big power spike now with the Exceed effect. I'll just zoom in on that real quick. Actually, I don't want to zoom in on it now. Opts for the Fatal Eye. I believe one spike is down. From the Zolt side, but there are dives in play to avoid this permutation. I think there's at least 1 dive and 1 spike left in the deck. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely don't want to get hit by this permutation. This would be a 7 power permutation coming in. Yep, there's the dive to void. So that would be what, a 4 power Evil Eye plus 1 for the dive. 5 damage, and one of the permutations gone. Second one is known in hand. There are a bunch of cards known in hand. I feel like I just don't remember them. But so opting for the prep. As I said before, definitely needs cards, especially without the battlefield at the transformation area. Okay, interesting. I believe he knows what this top card is, and if he doesn't, he can do the Imogene thing, of not necessarily of Right, he can do the ceiling face down, and then just play the next one. Interesting. Sweep into focus. No. Oh, he already got the bonus. So actually, that's gonna crush. That is unfortunate, right? Because so how this interaction works is, sorry, I should have said that way more hype than that was actually way cooler than it actually was. So basically, FFG was an invalid ultra, but this invalid ultra allowed this effect to happen. So the top deck would have the -8 to 0 range, +2 power, +1 speed. So that was an 8 damage sweep on the wild swing, which pops the focus. Zolt's still at 20 life though, so Definitely gonna need a couple more good hits on the Arcune side. Uh, Deck pressure could be a thing. Only 7 left in deck. That's a little bit worrying. Where'd all the cards go? I guess they're a bunch in hand. They're a bunch just everywhere except the deck. Did not realize Arcune was this deep into the deck. With Zolt at 20 life. Could be difficult to close out, but we'll see. So I apologize if my micro movements of the camera are bothering you. That's just something I do. I'll try to do it less, just to not make anyone nauseous or anything. So 0 vector boosted. This is the So this one makes a card invalid from the Zolt side, for both sides actually. But obviously Arcune is not going to play that. No Fatal Eye. Okay, that's probably for the best. I guess this telegraphs like a mid speed, because a lot of the fast attacks from the Zolt side are down. Only 1 card in deck even, so these 5 cards are relatively well known. It's like 1 copy of Cross Up. Cross Up would be the fastest thing on the Zolt side probably, unless the second one got discarded and I missed it. That's for Gunblaze. And yeah, this was the mid speed that I was talking about. So advances will hit because of the match for the -8 range, and that will pop through the 6 guard of Gunblaze, dealing 8 damage. So Arcune still definitely in this. Actually, I shouldn't say it like that. Arcune is doing very well right now. Plus got the additional overdrive piece, or the additional overdrive card from the 0 vector boost. Also, interestingly, if I'm not mistaken, one of these cards was the cross up, and now cross up can't actually go anywhere and avoid because Arcune took the corner. And we know, and can't. Another thing to note is that can't be dove across. Okay, interesting. Opting for change cards here, maybe. Yeah, and also the dive. Yeah, so that's another good reason why Arcune took the corner. So he can't be dove across, and those slows will hit. Seriously, MiX just opts for a brand new hand. OD goes off. Calavontis is probably not too keen on sealing more cards in here from now, probably. Just because there's only 7 left. Although he hasn't been drawing very much because he's been striking every turn. So this is about what we expected, right? Slow start, but once both these characters succeed, they can really play their own game. Okay, Calavontis is going for a reading play here on the fresh hand. Reading spike. No spike in hand. MiX opts for EX Focus. Probably wants that extra armor guard just so he doesn't accidentally get popped. Good call. Needs to discard the overdrive. Looked at that card already. So this will do no damage, and then MiX will hit back for 5 plus anything else he wants to. Did this sweep discard the second copy of Cross Up? It probably did. Honestly, I'm rambling quite a bit and actually missing some key combats, but. So gets the cross-up transformation, and then we'll probably opt for maybe the assault to get the advantage and draw a card, or no, doesn't need to. Gets the important transformation, and I believe it's his turn anyway because that was all for reading, so actually doesn't need to go for the assault. One very important thing about Zolt is that you can't go in too deep, otherwise you'll run out of resources. Right? You need to allocate your resources properly and not overspend on resources. Because for like measly 1 damage attacks, unless they're important ones like spike to pop armor guard or a dive to avoid, things like that. So you do need to be a little bit careful with how you use the resources there, and that's why MiX obviously did not go for the assault there because it's his turn anyway. And assault's just a good card to keep in hand when you're exceeded Zolt because you can grab that advantage back, get a card, maybe chain something else on top of that. Zolt ducks out to range 3. Overdrive comes off. Oh, goes again. Only one card left in Overdrive, although Arcune can add more to that with various abilities, but only one card left. Still 12 life to go through as well. A little bit of thinking here from the Arcune side. Key combat, probably. Opts to strike, interesting. MiX doing a check of the discards. Seeing what's up, what's left. Heads were revealed a long time ago. I don't think there's... I don't think we ever saw the second permutation drop, but other than that, I don't think there's a lot of information you can glean from 20 turns ago. MiX opting for the Wild Swing. Gets Wild Hunt. Invalid because only 2 gauge. Gets the if P then Q. Gets Spike. So Spike will miss, but Arcune gets this 5 speed into Overdrive. Overdrive does not end. Wait, does? Yeah, Overdrive does not end, even though Arcune had temporarily had 0. Right? That seems correct. That seems correct to me. Okay, goes for the Fatal Eye. Get swept, so let's see if MiX has the dive or something. One dive already engaged, unfortunately. Because the sweep could be punishing. Has the Assault, okay. And then Fanatical to push. And Stun on top of that, yeah. Because this was a 4 damage Fatal Eye with the 3 transformations out. Opting for change cards, just refresh that hand, I'm assuming. Yep. Full 7. This is looking real bad for Arcune now. Out of Exceed because it dropped on the strike, the last one. So now Zolt looking in real good position right now. Full hand. Only 4 cards left in hand on the Arcune side. 4 health. Even got that timer pressure. We know we at this stream love talk about timers and the troubles and headaches they bring. Not the troubles and headaches they bring, but we love talking about the troubles and headaches that they bring to the community. Opts for the +1 speed on this strike. Wild Swing Grasp is not gonna help. Yep, and there it is. GG. Yes, sorry, I completely mixed that. Yes, so MiX spent for power on the last strike, the one where the sweep got popped. He spent for power. That's 100% my fault. I probably should have specified that or mentioned something. But these players they move too quickly for my small brain. So it's very, especially with these timers. This is why I'm never gonna play with these timers. It's just because Exceed's a complicated game. When you got and these players, they know how to handle it. They've played hundreds, if not thousands, of games with their characters for sure. But yes, good call, good catch on that. That spend for power was what enabled. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do that. We're gonna put the scene on. You guys like that? I made it myself. All right, well they're already starting, so never mind. So next matchup is gonna be Hakumen versus Umina. Again, two characters I'm not familiar with at all. I tried learning Una for a day. I played 3 games with her. She looked very fun. Her, especially like with the. I went for the line where you keep sweeping the Dreamlands and then just strike with stun immunity sweeps. But yeah, Gaboxel noting in chat that it's the real strats to beat Hakumen twice. I agree, man. I agree. I mean, you can't expect to win against Zolt every time, right? Hawkman's definitely not on that same tier. So let's see. Mulligan's already happened. I believe it was 4 each on both sides. Calavontis opting for the turn 1 prep. 2 second prep. This card back. Look at that art. She needs that card back because she can steal her opponent's cards with Dreamlands. The turn 1 reading, let's see it. Unsuccessful. Handful of specials for the most part. I'll just toss for the sweep. Probably like a Gurren or a dive. Yep, dive. So this will be a trade, 5 for 6, although MiX loses a card. So very expensive turn actually from MiX. And he drops an ultra. Not a Shippu, but a Yukikaze. Could be useful for ending games, although he'll probably get it back before the end of the game. But yeah, very expensive turn on MiX's side, right? Because he had to drop the focus. He dropped this card from sweep, and obviously his combat card. So let's see. We saw the hollow space for the range 1 dodge at least come out from the. Actually, let's take a look at that hand again. So EX out of mind. They're taking. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to look at all the cards. I apologize, but so hollow space takes the sweep. Takes Hawkman's sweep too. So that's Hawkman just has to prepare because he was just so low on cards. He only had 2 in hand before that. Calavontis opting for the EX transform on Autumn Mind. MiX prepares again, and Umina responds with a Fierce. Okay. Light coming out from the Hawkman side. Another gauge. Yeah, there you go. Umina, I believe, just prepared that turn. These early games, they're well practiced. You can see because they're taking like two seconds each. Just try to jostle for resources and positioning on the next strike. Hawkman pairing. Maybe pairing a known card, seeing how half these cards are known. Maybe not. Parries Dark Thoughts. That's a scary card. Hits it. Actually, not a known card. So, interesting. Another parry coming out. Just jostling for those resources early. What do we got here? We have EX Cross. That's a good tool to have. We have a Renka. We have a Yanagi. We have a Shippu. And we have EX Yanagi, excuse me. Opts for an EX, so the cross Yanagi mix-up. Just opting to dodge, yep. But getting hit in the process because of the ability EX cross pushes him back 3. So actually gets popped for 6. Pretty expensive turn, seeing how this hollow space was known. So definitely a curious decision there. I wonder what the reasoning behind that was. Actually, excuse me, the hollow space was not known because 1 was discarded. My apologies on that. Okay, Umina going back to range 5. Hawkman cannot hit from range 5 unless he has the boost. He's the reach boost, which is the +0 to 1 range now strike. Oh, that's a little bit crooked, isn't it? Let's fix that. I should have hotkey set up for the camera, but I don't. So, if this bothers anyone, it not being completely straight, my apologies. Calavontis, seasoned timer player, only searching his opponent's discard on his opponent's timer. These buttons are in kind of awkward places because you can accidentally click them when you're fiddling with the discard, or like this boosts underneath the button. Maybe we can get those moved or something, or maybe you just got to get good and get used to them. But I will say they are in like slightly awkward places. There's not enough space here. because they're not stacking their boosts the way I like them stacked. Hakumen just is willing to sit there alongside Umina. It's already built up 9 gauge. Reading, pretty likely to hit. Look at that, 7 cards in hand, 4 in deck. Hits it. Focus into Shadow Course, which is the sweep. So Shadow Course, obviously, actually not so obviously. Let's take a look at this card. So when you reveal this attack, it becomes a copy of your card in your Dreamlands. Okay, and you pay any cost, obviously. This can't go into the Dreamlands, but the card in Dreamlands was the sweep taken off the boost from the Fireball. I forget the name. Holospace. Hakumen opting to exceed. Okay, they're doing something. Oh, Hakumen opting for a manual reshuffle. Okay, that's why the Sakamatsu's here, I'm assuming. Are we gonna see the legendary manual reshuffle into immediate exceed? Nope, just boosting Gurren. So it's a little bit extra power. 10 gauge now from the Hakumen side. The downside to 10 gauge means that this deck's looking a little bit thin, although Hakumen does have a free shuffle when he exceeds. When you exceed, shuffle your discard pile to your deck. That does not count as a manual reshuffle. Okay, here comes the reach and strike. So range 2 is a really good range for Hakumen, so range 3 with a reach, naturally it follows that it's a pretty good range for Hakumen, right? Although there is the dive. Okay, dive into Cross. Cross will win that speed tie. Let's see if MiX spends for extra power from the gauge, seeing how he has a billion of it. Maybe spends... Actually, maybe spends all 3, because he has 8 gauge. He's spending 1, spending 2. Just curating to see what cards he probably wants back before he exceeds. Yep, spends the full 3, so that's a 6 power cross. Range 6, though, which is a little awkward for both sides, with both hollow spaces down. Umina's Fireball is only hit at range 5, or Dark Thoughts and the Ultra only hit at range 5. So Umina opts to move to range 5. Hakumen steps back. A little bit of footsies going on. This is... I love that. This is one of my favorite parts of Exceed, just the jostling for position. Umina opts to EX Transform Terror Whispers, which is the spend 2 gauge to force your opponent to Wild Swing. Umina now moving to range 5, so Hakumen now has to step in. Or boost second, whatever that range boost is on Renko. I don't think this is the right turn to exceed, just because you're probably getting hit by something for free. Because there's no way Hakumen can actually avoid something like a Dark Thoughts, right? He could... Actually, he could... Yukikaze it, I guess. But I don't think that's a trade you're willing to make at these life totals, although maybe I'm mistaken on that. But Hakumen only at 13, and Dark Thoughts would put him at, what, 8, 7? Dark Thoughts does 6 damage, okay? So put him on 7. So I'm not sure that's a trade you make. Plus you lose one of your Yukikazes as well. Interesting. Odds for power. Flips a Yukikaze, so a little bit of hand info there. Although only 5 and 5. Plus 6 power, or plus 5 power, excuse me. Boosting the Unknown Kadath. Extremely good boost. Hakumen striking into that. Okay. Maybe... Well, they're at range 5. So I guess threatening the second Yukikaze, maybe? Opt for the Dark Thoughts. Yep, just the block. The problem with Yukikaze there is that you take a billion damage I sorry. I thought of it in my head. And I forgot to just verbalize it because I forgot I was streaming for a second. But yeah, this is still an 11 damage Dark Thoughts. Luckily, there's ample resources to negate that. But oh, interesting. Drops the 2 ultras from hand. That's definitely an interesting one. Opts to not drop the ultra from the gauge. Probably so you can pick that up when he exceeds, but look at all this gauge, man. Even after the free reshuffle, Hawkman's not going to have too many cards left. Although I don't think deck pressure will play a big role into this. Second Unknown Kadath boost coming out from Umina. Both blocks stuck in gauge, so... Now this is interesting. Opting to overdrive with both blocks in the discard at range 5 against Umina. Am I missing something here? Or is he just going to get popped for a billion? Surely I'm missing something here, but this... unless all the range 5 options are down, but I don't think they... Both Dark Thoughts are down, because one was parried, and the second one's engaged. But what about the Ultra? The Ultra would do good damage. Because it'd be 2 plus 5, so 7. Plus... however many specials and ultras are there. Maybe I just did not neglected to count, and Umina had no ranged options left there. Because I think you take that trade with Yuhi Kaze if you're Umina there in a lot of scenarios, because you bring Hawkman to basically 2 HP. Since D is not streaming, I want to remind you guys to drink some water. It's been some period of time. Don't know how much, but drink some water. It's good for you. There you go. Interesting. Opts to take the cross and then boost it. So Hawkman's overdrive is you discard a card to return a card from the overdrive area to your hand. Umina striking, range 2. Pretty... I mean, with the plus 5 power on top of it, pretty scary. Especially because a lot of Hawkman's cards are focused on trading. You know, he's got a lot of... he's got some good counterattacks, right? Like... that. Also, the speed 6 Renka, yeah, gets stuffed by cross. Yeah, I felt like that was coming, the fast option, just because a lot of Hawkman's cards are for trading purposes, and you can't trade with a plus 5. Well, you can, but you can trade with Yukaze, but MiX left that in the OD. So down to 5 HP, range 5. This is has to take the block back, right? Well, it doesn't have to take the block back. I guess it depends on what he wants to do this combat. But opts to take the block back. Should probably shuffle his hand. But... discards EX Grass, moving to range... Yep, EX Grass not really going to do very much at range 5, unfortunately. Umina just preps, back to MiX. Third turn overdrive goes off, only one more left. Has block and a top deck card in hand. I'm not really sure how to stage a comeback here. The life totals are a little bit too lopsided. Unfortunately, Hawkman only has like 3 of those in hand, 2 of those in deck, right? Okay, so opts for close 2 and strike. at range 1. Oh, good call out. I don't know why people think this is people think this is like a risky play. No, I love range 1 dive is my favorite. Like it's so good. Bad players don't do it enough. I'm a bad player and I do it enough, so I guess that doesn't really correlate. But the range 1 dive, big fan of it. Okay, so this is not the best trade. Hawkman down to 1 life, no cards in hand, with Umina assaulting. This game is over. Yep, there you go. I don't think anything could beat that, and that won't. So that's game. Game 2 going to Calavontis. Actually, pretty dominating game, all things considered. Especially from the turn where from the turn that MiX spent EX cross onto the second hollow space. From that turn onward, it just seemed like Umina was ahead in that game. So let's see who the third characters are. Let's bring out that scene that I made for this specifically. There we go. There it is. Actually, this is a best of 3 set, and they are tied 1-1. So third game takes it. Calavontis can no longer play Umina. MiX can no longer play Zolt. Okay, characters have been locked in for game 3, and we have Arcune versus Hakumen. So again, both two characters with big costs on the exceeds, but those exceeds they really change the character. So maybe expect to see a lot of early game, not a lot of strikes in the early game, just positioning, jockeying for advantage over specific resources in hand for Arcune and Overdrive, Gauge, etc. Hakumen gets to go first in this game, though. Opts for the turn 1 prep. And Arcune with the classic, what did the cool kids call it? 5-bit knowledge, because it's 5 cards, not 4. It's cute. So, as I explained earlier, one card goes everywhere, right? 1 to hand, 1 to gauge, 1 to OD, 1 to deck, 1 to sealed. Very good boost to have early, just because it really gets the tempo of your gauge going, your overdrive going, and gets a 3 in there as well. That's really good. Okay, opts for the reach. Arcune just wild swing, just wants to spend resources, gets the cross. That is what a draw. What a good response. I mean, I guess the spike. The thing is, whenever I play spike on offense and my opponent wild swings on defense, my heart just sinks because there's just so many different ways that can go wrong. Although at range 4, the number of ways that can go wrong is significantly less, but my heart just sinks. And second, forbidden knowledge coming out from Arcune. Arcune is already halfway there. He's got two OD and 2 engage. Let's straighten out that camera for you guys. There we go. And not only that, already has like useful speeds here, right? With the spike and a permutation now in the OD. He's got 2 3s. 3 is maybe the most important Arcune speed to have in Overdrive. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's definitely up there if it's not number 1. Interesting. The offensive wild swing. It's a FFG. That's going to be invalid at the grasp. So Gurn will hit for 4. Offensive wild swing was a play there. Probably just to get rid of... I forget if there was something boosted on the Hawkman side, but... Just a poor man's tech. Okay, light tech. Classic exceed maneuver. Interesting, goes for the -1 speed, attacks at range, X do not hit you. So what, like the level 0, the Yomi level 0 play here into this thing is just like assault, right? But maybe Calavontis is ready for that. I'd like to see Spike come out from MiX here. Oh. Yeah, Spike there are pretty unlikely, dude, for Hawkman to even have it because I believe he dropped one already. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. But yeah, that interaction was just like, that was Yomi level 0 right there. No tricks, no nothing. Arcune boosting armor guard. Hawkman opting for a little extra power. Already up to 7 here. So not a huge, no real damage to the life bars, but both characters are Arcune at 5, Hawkman at 7. Reading coming out from Arcune. Hits it. Reading focus into the Y2 dash. So Y2 dash will dance over the focus, hit for 6, 4 after armor, and focus will whiff. Pretty decent swing right there. Plus Arcune getting out of the corner. That's the one downside about Hawkman, right? Is when you put all these cards in the gauge, you're giving a lot of information on the hand, and it's not guaranteed information, but it's like 80% chance that this will happen. Although one focus was already in the gauge, so that was only like a 50% reading. Disjoint Union. So Hawkman will be pushed, so Shippu, the full brunt of Shippu will not be felt, but 4 damage will come out. MiX actually really likes doing this a lot. I've seen him play the ultras without overdriving. He asks for going for the ultras early. Maybe Calavontis knew that, and that's why he played the Disjoint Union there. Ooh, another Shippu engage. It's a little unfortunate for sure. I bet he would like to threaten that. Such is the life of a Hawkman player. Arcune, meanwhile, has built up 9 gauge plus overdrive, so maybe that's happening now. Maybe next turn after it'll boost or something to maybe greed out a little extra value. Looking at the speeds here, what do we have? We have 1, 3, 3, 4. So the only problem is there are too many 3s, right? Oh no, there's still a permutation left in deck. I thought there were both permutations down. So there's one. There are not too many 3s. The permutation is left, and then obviously FFGs are left as well. The range 4 strike. It's a little bit concerning if you're Hawkman. Especially with EX Gurren down, maybe a dive down. Also for Yanagi, hoping for the... And, well, Yanagi's faster. So you won't get the full damage, which is kind of unfortunate. Only 3 power. Then F-piece-wise will hit because it hits on even spaces, so 0 to 4. And will hit back hard. Hit back for 6. Wait, did it not hit back? Did I miss something? Or was the life total already like that? I don't remember. I'll ask in chat just to make sure. Okay. I guess Hakumen was at 19. Can anyone in chat confirm? Chat, come on now. Was Hakumen at 19? I don't remember. I don't know how to rewind either on Twitch. I'm kind of a Twitch boomer. I have no idea how any of this works. Maybe I could clip it or something? I'm just gonna assume that they're good. Sorry, back to the game here. So Arcune has exceeded. Opts for the FFG, which will allow him to basically be overdriven for the rest of the game unless things go horribly wrong. Because he gets 3 cards from the discard pile to the overdrive. So really, not only will he be overdriven, he gets to choose what to put in here, which is very, very good. He gets to curate his overdrive pretty well, seeing how he gets up to 3 cards. Not the worst damage on it either, 5 damage, although it was into a block. Sorry, let's move the camera up a little bit. Hakumen boosting massive in response. Range 3 looking better than range 2 here. Although he has reshuffled, so the range 4 options are back into the deck. But now range 3 options for Hakumen are alive. Although Arcune with this massive overdrive is looking real good. Another focus, another reading coming out. This could be pivotal turn. Reading obviously just causes these massive life swings. Reading Wild Swing, although he probably knows what that top card is. Let's see. Oh, and it's successful. Reads cross into the permutation. That's going to be big damage right there. And definitely has the ability to discard. He's got multiple. Actually, only has 1/3, but I mean, it's 7 power. 7 power permutation and the discard. Calavontis struggling to find the 3 speed in its massive overdrive, but gets it. Hakumen. Oh no! Steals another spike. That's really bad because now that second permutation online for another 7 damage. Yeah, this is looking tough for Hakumen now. The pressure, the overdrive pressure is immense right now. He's at range 6, so he's got to move in, right? He can't sit at range 6 against Hakumen or against Arcune as Hakumen. So yeah, this is definitely a really tough spot for the Hakumen right now. I'm interested to see what his next couple turns are to get out of it. I'm assuming there's going to be a move action coming in shortly, just to not be at range a billion against Arcune. MiX sweating to find that win con. I'm not a very good Hakumen player, so I do not see it yet. But maybe he can find one. He's got 10 minutes. He's in theory he's got 10 minutes to find a win con. Looks like a change cards. Okay. Interesting. Maybe just betting that he doesn't have the second permutation in hand. Although, oh, interesting. Maybe it dropped and I just didn't pay attention. Again, I apologize because I don't have the ability to check discards, nor do I have the attention span to remember what's in those discards. Moving to Rage 4, where more Hakumen can, or where Arcune can throw in more things like Y2, Disjoint, F piece-wise could work at Rage 6, but it's a little bit expensive. Okay, Hakumen now finally gets to succeed. Doesn't have a ton of HP to work with, which is a little bit unfortunate, but at least he succeeded. So if the comeback were to happen, it starts now. Another thing to note is there are 4 cards here, but these are not the only 4 cards that are unknown to MiX, because of the boost on Forbidden Knowledge, and alongside the Overdrive effect, which I don't think cards have been sealed from the top of the deck. There are actually 6 unknown cards here, so there are 3 in hand, there's 1 in deck, and there's 2 in the sealed area. So these four cards are not known, and that's just important to note. Okay, Calavontis is opting for the manual reshuffle, going for the stylish victory on what's that card? End to Infinity? Does he have a 4? He does have a 4. Yeah, Hakumen has to cross in to not die to the 5-speed range 4 Ultra that does 99 damage. Destiny at range 1, which, although to be fair, range 1 is probably preferred here. Arcune response just seals it. Interestingly, if this hand wasn't shuffled, then that's a card that came from the 6. I don't know if he shuffled his hand. That's one thing you have to keep in mind in tabletop simulators. When you draw cards, always shuffle your hand. As for the Akumetsu, Disjoint Union will blow that up because it has the push. And that will do 5 damage with the matching assaults. Akumetsu not hitting that's brutal. That's brutal. Arcune, one of the few you basically, so for Akumetsu, you need to have a way to push the opponent or like move the opponent before your attack hits. And the one way Arcune has a way to do that with Disjoint Union, right? Because he can push 3 or 4. He can push 3 or 4 before he hits. So the ability on Akumetsu actually does not work. And Arcune is one of the few characters that actually has the ability to dodge the range 1 Akumetsu. And it looked like it was known too, because it came from the left side. It came from the left side of his hand. I believe he didn't shuffle his hand. That's one thing I was mentioning. This is one thing you have to do. You have to make sure because the rules aren't enforced. So especially when you reshuffle or something, you really want to be shuffling your hand quite often, just so your opponent doesn't know. You know, is it a card you've been holding on to a while? Is it a card you just drew that you're playing? That kind of thing. And it's important. It's important. It's not. I wouldn't consider it cheating. To deduce what kind of card your opponent's playing. It's just something that you have to keep in mind as an Exceed player in this setting, because hands are formatted in such a way that unless you shuffle them, the order's known. Anyway, I have no idea how MiX wins this game. It's probably with like multiple It's probably like one big bet into two Yukikazes. EX Dive, yeah, that's the big bet, and it did not pay out. Calavontis takes the set 2-1, beating the Hawkman twice in frankly splendid fashion. Both these games, Calavontis looked pretty on top for the last 60% of the match, right? Was able to build a lot of OD early against Hawkman and just won a couple key strikes. You know, this one and the one before. I'm sorry, I don't remember it. But just winning just 2 or 3 key strikes late in the game. That was and was able to just clutch it out in the end. And frankly, the games looked pretty dominant for the last 60% of the game. Both the Sumina game and the Zarakuna game. But anyways, both players are gone. I'm not going to do any sort of post game interview or anything because I forgot to ask them, and I don't want to ask them now. But for those of you in Twitch chat, thank you for sticking with me. Hope you enjoyed the games. Sorry for the lackluster commentary. It's not really my forte, especially in a game that I'm not the most familiar in. But I hope you enjoyed watching the game. Hope you learned something. Congrats to Calavontis, who will be moving on to grand finals in this tournament, undefeated as well, because his only loss was due to a technicality of like joining the tournament late. I don't really know the rules on that, nor do I want to comment on that because I don't want to accidentally say anything controversial or mean or anything. But yeah, Calavontis undefeated in the tournament. Can anyone stop this monster? Well, I guess we'll find out next time. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are. Congrats again to Calavontis. This is not the last of MiX. Well, this is not the last of MiX. I will repeat that. This is winners finals. So he does have another chance to make his way up through losers, to make his way up through one match of losers before potentially coming back to see Calavontis again for the run back. So we'll see if that happens. I probably won't be streaming that. Someone more high profile will be streaming that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me and take care. Bye-bye.